Hey everyone, welcome to today's show. I'm so excited. We have Sharan Sammi with us today from Sharan Sammi Coaching. And Sharon is an inspirer, motivator, and serial manifestor with the aim of shining light everywhere that she goes. And she's an empowerment life coach and intuitive healer. Welcome, Sharon.
Thank you, Cheryl, for having me. I'm so excited to be here today.
Awesome. I'm so excited to have you. So tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Okay, so I'm Sharon. So nice to meet everybody that's listening. I live in the UK. I'm married. I've got two children. So I've got a 6-year-old daughter, a 3-year-old son. And I pretty much spent the majority of my working life, the last 20 years, in the corporate banking world in the UK, traveling up and down the country, a very high profiled position with very long working hours. And then about 15 years ago, this is when I kind of changed direction in terms of my thinking, my aspirations, and where I was leading my life going forward. And 15 years ago, I opened up to the world of personal development. And that took me down the road of really focusing on how important your mindset is. So, in a very short space of time, I became a Reiki healer master teacher. Then I went on to various healing modalities, which then led me on to becoming a certified life coach. So over that 15-year journey, I was still pretty much working in the corporate banking world, but using all of my spare time, like an hour here, 2 hours there, but every single day, I was so committed and so dedicated towards my personal development and growth that I really accelerated in the holistic world. And then it came to a point, literally this time last year, where I sent the message out to the universe. If now is the time for me to leave the corporate banking world and really go full time in my business, make it happen. And then within 3 weeks, that decision was made. I left the banking world, and it was like I've come out the corporate shadow and I can now be my true, authentic self and really shine the light, like you say, wherever I go, and become this empowerment coach and intuitive healer. And it's been a fantastic, phenomenal journey.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. I
Thank
actually come
you.
from that. I don't know what that feedback is, so hopefully we can edit that out. But I actually come from a banking background too, so that's interesting. And
Yeah.
I love that your journey was like a lot of other coaches that are going to be listening, that you were doing it part time, and then you
Yeah.
kind of realized that there was an opportunity, and you put it out there to the universe to make this full time, and the universe said yes, this is the time, and gave it to you. So I love that. Um, so you just mentioned a lot about the mindset piece. What was your mindset once um, when you first started thinking about it being full time and being able to leave the security of a job? What was your mindset at that point?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty much ongoing for a number of years. Over that 15-year period, it was like it got me thinking, gosh, there's more to life than being in this corporate role. Although, don't get me wrong, I did love what I did with a passion in the corporate banking world, but there was so much out there to do in terms of, obviously, we've mentioned the mindset, the healing modalities, the spirituality, the holistic side. So there was just like this inner calling. But at the same time, I was still like drawn to stay in the corporate world. And that was one of my major dilemmas because I really wanted to step out and branch out and become this full time healer or this full time coach. But then at the same time, I was being pulled back into corporate, and I just loved that with a passion. And then I got married about 9 years ago and I had my daughter. She's 6 now. And the reason I mention that is because when I had my daughter and I went on my first stint of maternity leave, that's when it really hit home. It was like, I'm at home now with my child and I'm away from the corporate world. I've got all of this, not time, so to speak, because when you've got a child, it is quite demanding.
Right.
It's demanding. But then I was then drawn to thinking, well, I was researching different things. I was still doing a lot of personal development. And then I went back after my maternity leave and I still loved what I did with a passion in the banking world. But then at that point, I was then thinking, do I leave now? Do I leave because, you know, I've got a child as well to look after. I can spend more time with my daughter and I can follow my passion. But then the corporate world, there was still that pull towards, no, it's not the right time. You need to stay here. You need to stay here. And then, because I am a natural psychic medium and I connect, you know, deeply, you know, to, I guess you can call the spiritual realms or even my higher self. And I sat down and I did a lot of in work. And I thought to myself, what is my path going forward? Is it the holistic world? Is it both? What is going on? Because I faced like this dilemma of this crossroads. Do I leave now? Do I not? What am I supposed to be doing? And if you're listening to this right now and you may be feeling, you know, quite similar to what I was going through, it is quite a tough dilemma to have deep in your mind.
Yes.
And so I continued in the corporate world, and it got me thinking, why am I still in corporate? And then I got this realization, I'm actually still in corporate because they need the holistic energy. Because in the workplace, it's very masculine energy. Do. You've got to, you know, you've got to make so many calls. You've got to see so many clients. You've got to hit all of these targets. It's very do energy. Whereas the holistic side, it's very feminine, the flow energy, the be, opening up your intuition. So then what I found myself doing was merging the two energies together. And that didn't really happen till I had my son. And he's going to be 4 quite soon. And I went on my maternity leave for that year, went back into the corporate world. And that's when, Cheryl, everything changed. Literally my whole mindset. I was so driven to the coaching side of things. And everything just changed. And so I was turning up to the corporate, you know, my workplace. I was doing the role I was supposed to do. But then at the side, what happened was I joined a networking group within the banking community. And there was thousands of women from this organization in this women's networking group. And then what I did in a short space of time was I started releasing mindset workshops within my corporate organization. So it was my day job and it was classed as a hobby. And so I continued to do that. But the feedback I got from these women, because these corporate women were coming, I was there training, not as a qualified trainer. I was literally there to, you know, to run the workshop, but my day job was actually in the financial markets team to go out talking about risk management and foreign exchange. Yet there was somebody standing in front of them, talking to them about gratitude, mindset, empowerment, you know, different ways of how you can achieve your goals, looking at your finances, looking at your relationships. And these women have never come across this kind of stuff before, this mindset work. And it totally blew their mind. More so, it totally blew my mind to think, actually, not everybody is like me. People in the corporate world, they need this mindset work. They need this mindset information. So that's really what stimulated me then to finally make that decision that I need to come out of the corporate world, but also then have a strong influence towards working with corporate women or working with organizations to actually, you know, filter the mindset work across the organization and mixing the corporate with the holistic together.
Awesome. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I don't know what this feedback is, so I'm apologizing for that ahead of time.
Oh, okay.
I've tried turning everything off in my space, but it's still doing it. Anyway, so that's interesting. So you, through you know, doing those workshops at work, you kind of found your niche or your area to focus in on.
I would say so, definitely, without even realizing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
awesome. So what was your like first win once you went into full time? What was your first win that you can kind of just pick out and say this is it?
Yeah. My first win, I can openly say, was an 8-week program that I'm actually trained in. It's called the Infinite Possibilities Mastermind Group. It's an 8-week life-changing course. And what I did was I spent so much time, like hours, if not like days and weeks, on my whole content planning. And then I literally launched it. As soon as I was released from the corporate banking world, I then released it out to the public, out to I guess the public. and and the response was absolutely fantastic. I mean, people were questioning, okay, what am I going to get from this? And I also had a lot of people as well that were quite skeptical to actually invest their own finances in themselves. Because what I found was a lot of people, they're working maybe for corporate institutions, and their boss or their employer would actually pay for them to go on courses, but the courses would be linked into their job role, like
Right.
quite specific towards their job role, not in like the holistic mindset sense. So here's these individuals looking at all of this that I've put out there in the social media, etc. And then they're quite skeptical, thinking, do I invest in myself or do I not? And then obviously we're going through this global pandemic at the same time, and there's all this increased uncertainty. So people were coming to me saying, I'm not really too sure, I'm on the fence. So it was the way that like I just spoke to them. Well, are you happy doing what you're doing? Are you achieving the things you want to achieve in life? Is there so much more that you want to do? Because this course is actually going to give you all of that and so much more. I just said to them, take a chance on yourself, because who else is going to do that if you don't do that? So it was, I suppose, just coaching them through that decision. They came on the course, and it was mind-blowing to see people from, I guess, having those limiting beliefs, those limitations in life. For example, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. I don't deserve a pay rise. Other people are better than me. And it's like assessing, well, where have those limitations come from? And actually, are they true? So it was actually going through the whole process and the whole journey, start to finish, over the 8-week period, which I then extended it to 12 weeks in total. And it was amazing. And for me, to do that and to then attract those individuals onto the program was fantastic. And it just goes to show that, not everybody has got the same mindset and training as us, as individuals, as coaches. And people do need this information. They do need the help with the mindset. They do need help to overcome their limiting beliefs and limitations in life, and to be given that clarity and that confidence, etc. So people really need it, and they need it more so right now, because we're going through all of the uncertainty with the pandemic and everything else. So it is a chance now. And I always think as well, now is the most fantastic opportunity ever because of what we're going through externally.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Yeah.
So what would you say to a coach that was hesitant or thinking that they need more training or more this, more that, before they branch out, either take the leap, go full time in their business, or even just to put a program out there? Because I see lots of resistance on that. Like they feel like they have to be this guru in order to put a program out there to help their ideal clients. What would you say to the coach that's being held back by that?
Yeah, I would say, and you've probably heard this so many times before, but I'm just going to say it, feel the fear and do it anyway. Because I always believe, what have you got to lose throughout anything in life? If you want, for example, to increase your fees or a pay rise, depending upon, where you are, if you're still working or you're full-time in your business, what have you got to lose? Because the end result, somebody can always say no, but that doesn't mean you're a failure. Because a lot of the time we kind of classify, if somebody says no or somebody doesn't buy our program or package straight away, that's a reflection on us. We're a complete failure. Well, actually, that's not true, because we, as individuals, we're not failures. There's so many, and this is probably an exercise that you listeners, out there can do. If you want to feel that confidence and you want that instant, I guess, buzz to go out and launch your program, is just write down the top 10 achievements you've had over the last year or even over the last 5 years. Because at the start of that, you probably were feeling exactly what you're feeling right now, but you broke through that ceiling, that glass ceiling, and you you did what you did and you achieved what you did. So with everything, even if somebody says no, the way that I view that is it's not a failure, it's like a fail forward, which means like you take the learning from it and it pushes you even further. It propels you even further. So even if you get like 50 no's, which I have done in the past, to do with a different example, which I'm happy to share later on. But even if you get 50 no's, you've just got to have that inner faith, and you've just got to keep that determination, keep that commitment, keep that ambition, because sooner or later you're going to start getting the yeses. And then when you get the yeses, that kind of builds your confidence and propels you forward. But you have to start somewhere, because you can do all of the learning and development. And I'm working with somebody at the moment, and she's a coach, and I'm coaching her at the moment on one of my programs, and she's doing all of this learning and development. And I said to her, when are you going to launch your product? When are you going to launch your program? Oh, I'm doing 3 more programs at the moment. Once I've completed all of that and got all of my qualifications, I'll launch my product then. It's like, no, do it now. Let's set the date. So even if a key takeaway, set the date and just get it done.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I have a couple clients that, are kind of the serial school, serial students. And they just keep getting, certification after certification. Now, I don't knock certification, because I've had a lot of certifications as well, but I started my business and then got the other certifications and credentialing. So I understand, but I understand that feeling to just keep getting more until you feel like you're enough. So, how do you help people really see that they are enough, that they, overcoming that? I just did a training on overcoming imposter syndrome. So I understand again completely how that can get in the way. So how do you help your clients, overcome that?
Yeah, well, it comes down to, first of all, what initially are they fearing? Because it's 2 parts really, because they're fearing something. So for example, it could be that they're not going to fill their program. They don't know how to launch themselves. And I'm talking away from the technicalities of it, like in terms of like the technical payment systems and all of that. I'm talking about more of the mindset. So in terms of what is stopping them? Is it them feeling not good enough? And like you mentioned, the imposter syndrome, because that is a real one at the moment. It's a huge one, which even I've experienced. We all probably go through the imposter syndrome of, are we good enough? Are we deserving to do this? Should I be doing this? And this self-questioning. But one way that I say to get over that, first of all, it's getting over the limiting beliefs. So working through those limitations and actually questioning, like, as a quick example, you could think, okay, well, I'm not good enough to put this program out there. So then you could think, well, actually, who's told you you're not good enough? Is it your internal mind, your ego mind, who's trying to keep you small, who's trying to keep you in your comfort zone, who doesn't want you to expand and grow and be really successful? Or is it somebody else that's told you? And then when you dig back and you peel back the layers, so to speak, you could then find that actually it was something that happened in childhood, where a teacher said something or a parent said something, and it was like an expectation, and you didn't quite fulfill that expectation, and it's that inner belief. So it's first of all digging through the limiting beliefs, and then on the second side, I would say it's to do with confidence. It's to do with confidence. And then I go through like different confidence techniques. But one of the main ones is, like I mentioned, it's like looking over the last year or even the last few years. What are the things that you have done that's new? So you've experienced something new. So it could be that, okay, you can't go to the gym because a lot of the gyms are closed, but it could be something like you put a YouTube channel on, like a dance video, and you worked out on the dance video and you've never done that before. It could be something, Cheryl, as simple as, well, actually, it may not be simple, because you made a chocolate cake. Okay, because if you're not like into baking, that could be really hard. And I've recently, especially through the pandemic with my children, I've been doing a lot of baking. But at the start, I did feel in my own mind, I was like, do I know how to do this? Am I going to end up burning all of the cakes? And I can't show my children that I'm going to burn these cakes. They have to be fantastic and all of this stuff. And it's like looking through your past achievements, and they don't have to be big, they can be small wins. Because if you get those small wins together and you focus your mind on those wins, that will then hopefully give you the boost that you need, the confidence that you need to really put yourself out there. Because if you've done other things from the past, that means you can do things in the future. So you can definitely do things.
Awesome. I like that. I like to notice what you've done, and kind of it adds up, right? Because
Yeah,
we don't think of ourselves typically as successful when we first get into business, but when you
yeah,
look at everything you've done in life or even in previous jobs or whatever, like those are wins. Those are things that you can draw confidence from and know that you can move ahead. So I love that. Um,
thank you.
Let me ask you, how do you turn things around for yourself when you're feeling like you're not making any headway in your business, or maybe you're coming up against some self doubts?
Yeah, totally, totally. That's a fantastic question, I have to say, because being a coach and being an intuitive healer, I also appreciate that I'm human. I'm totally human. And we go through our daily lives and things come up, like, for example, the imposter syndrome, or even with myself being really high vibe, motivational, really like confident. Sometimes my confidence gets knocked. So what I make it as a must is I work with coaches. So at the moment, I'm working with two different coaches. I'm working with a high performance coach at the moment, and also a strategy coach. So those two are on a weekly basis, and that's the time that I have for me. So they really challenge me. They make sure that I'm on my A game. They make sure I'm performing. And then at the same token as well, I also have healing sessions personally for me, because things happen in life, and if I'm out there doing my coaching and my healing, etc., with clients, I also need to have healing. I also need to have coaching, because sometimes as a coach, well, this is what I personally feel anyway, it's like you can get yourself to a particular level, but sometimes you can't see the true picture, no matter how motivated or confident you are. So sometimes you do need that external person to really help you, just to see a lot clearer what the picture can be for you, and to really challenge you and push you. So in saying that, I really talk my talk and walk my walk. So I do personally work with coaches. And so I recommend that everybody, if you're in the coaching world, if you're in the healing world, you should be probably getting coaching,
Yep.
because if you want people to work with you, you really should be on your A game working with coaches to better yourself as well. So
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I think that's once you have your initial training, because I'm a proponent of that, but once you've gotten your certifications, I think it's
Yeah.
really important to invest in your own coach, or mentor. I mean, whatever it's going to work for
Yeah.
you, but somebody that's there. And like you said, you're in the healing world, so you have your own your own healing sessions as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, I love that.
Yeah. A
So
side point, if I may,
yep,
just to mention
sure,
a side point, is when um when I was in corporate world, and obviously the last 15 years I was in the personal development world, training as a healer, training as a coach, etc., on the side, what I then realized was that one of the things you've really got to be conscious of is the people you are around. And I feel this is really important to add to this as well, because when I was going on this journey of like training, getting my certifications, I was around my lifetime friends, which is completely fine. I was around my work colleagues, which is a different story altogether because they're very corporate, not of the holistic mindset. And then you're around your family and friends. And to be honest, when you're actually growing and you're accelerating, and this is all of us, you're growing and accelerating, your mindset completely changes, which means that the people that you once connected with, maybe you can't connect with them to the I'm trying to you can't connect with them to the way that you used to
in the
do
same
before.
way. Yeah, in the
Yeah, in
same
the
way.
same way. That's the way. That's the words I'm trying to say. In the same way. So the key thing that I realized was that when you start accelerating and get your certifications, it's about being conscious of the people that you're around, and that will certainly change, because I've had people, leave my life in terms of like lifetime friends, people that I can't really connect with. And that has been quite painful. But then at the same token, you leave room for people to go, but then that opens the door for people to come in, the new energy. So it's all about making sure that your social connections are really good as well.
Yeah. I agree with that, because their negativity or their limiting
Yeah.
beliefs can have a really big impact on you.
Yeah,
I tell
totally.
Yeah, I tell a quick story about my kids, because I was in the corporate world, and I was making
Yeah.
good money, and I had good benefits and everything. And when I first went in my business, like, their stuff cut down extremely. It's like, no, you can't have that. No, we need to get a different kind there. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it really cut down, and they would
Yeah.
say, "Mom, why don't you just go back to your job?"
I totally understand that one.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, and not
Definitely.
that they were negative, but they were just like, they didn't understand. And that's the thing. Like, our family members, they don't understand. We want to take this leap. We want to do things for ourselves. We want to help people in our own
Yeah.
way, on our own time, and with our own energy. And people, especially people that are, like you said, in the corporate world, they don't get it. They don't get an entrepreneurial spirit.
No,
They don't get how
definitely.
you would give up things for it.
Definitely. Even to the point where I've got a brother, he's a little bit younger than me, and he's in the corporate world as well. And when I first told him, "Oh, I've left my corporate job," and he said, "Really? Oh my gosh, what are you going to do? I'm so sorry." I said, "What are you sorry for? Congratulate me. I'm an empowerment coach and intuitive healer." And then the next week he saw that I because it gives you that degree of freedom, that flexibility. You can you can arrange your client sessions as and when you want to, fit it around the children if you have a family, fit it around your partner, etc. And he saw that I had this time freedom. And he actually said to me, he said, "Sharon, are you happy? I think you need to start looking for a job." And I said, "Whoa, hold on a minute." Because he didn't quite understand how it all works in terms of like, this is the business, this is the lifestyle I want. I've been in corporate for 20 years. I've been working 6 o'clock in the morning till 6 o'clock at night, 12 hours a day, as well as my personal development. This is now time for me to enjoy my business. And
Yeah.
then he just said, "Well, if you're happy, I'm happy."
Yeah, and I think that's a good point. Like, sometimes we just have to be able to explain, but not with an expectation. Like, you know,
Yeah.
eh, give them that time, because it's your family or it's a close friend or whatever. Give them that time to explain it. But we can't have the expectation that they're going to understand it
Yeah.
or agree with it. Um,
Yeah.
and like you said, you'll outgrow the ones that aren't going to be
Mm.
accepting of it. And then the ones that are left are going to be great, and then you'll be able to add more, because now you've created that space,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
new people to come in. Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely. All right, so we're kind of winding down here, so I would like to ask you if you could share um, one tip, for just one kind of strategy or tip for a coach that wants to put their program out there, and they're feeling kind of, besides the mindset piece, like, just kind of like, what would be an actionable step for somebody who's wanting to put their program out there, but they're finding themselves stuck.
Okay, okay. This is a principle that I use, and I use this very often, especially when I'm just about to launch, or if I'm thinking, I'm umming and ahhing, thinking, should I do this? Should I not do this? Is this going to work? And I'm kind of self-questioning, and I'm at that point where I'm not too sure whether I should do this or not. This is a really good technique. It's called the value, joy, profit model. I don't know whether you've come across this before, Cheryl. Okay, but what you do is you blank sheet of paper, and at the top you have 3 columns. And the first column is joy. Sorry, the first column is value. The second column is joy, and the third column is profit. So in your first column, if you first of all assess, write a list at the side, first of all, like all the different programs, whether it's one-to-one, whether it's a group program, whether it's a specialized mastermind program. And then under the value column, I want you to rate it out of 10. So 10 being the highest, 1 being the lowest, of how much value do you feel it's going to give your end client? So whether you've got a niche or whether it's quite broad, whatever it is, how much value is it going to give your end client? Is it really going to solve that problem that they're looking at the moment? So just rate it 1 out of 5. The middle column is joy. So with this one, it's so important because it's looking at you personally. How much joy is it going to bring you to run that one-to-one program or that group coaching program or whatever it is? How much joy is it going to bring you? Because at the end of the day, you've got to feel happy with whatever you're teaching, because if you don't feel happy with your content or the way that you're teaching, you're not going to be giving, like, you know, the best value to your end client. So rate yourself 1 out of 5. And then the last column is the profit, because at the end of the day, it's all about the money, isn't it? Okay, cut out everything else. It's all about the money.
We have to make a living.
You
Yeah,
know,
we have to make a living.
You've got to live on it, because that's why you're going into business. And that's a completely different talk altogether, isn't it, Cheryl?
It is. It definitely is.
But then your profit, you go 1 out of 5, 5 being the highest. So if, for example, you're pricing it, I don't know, you know, pick a number, £500 or $500, then rate it 1 out of 5. Thinking to yourself in your mind, okay, well, if I get 5 people on my program, or 10 people or 20 people, what does that equate to? And actually, is that worth my time, or actually is that price too cheap? And then at the end, I want you to add all the 3 columns up with all of your programs and all of your masterminds and your one-to-one coaching, etc. And then what that should give you at the end is that the one that's got the highest score is the one that really ultimately you maybe should be doing first, or should be promoting first, because that just kind of gives you that clarity in your mind that if you think, oh, I could do this, but I could also run this program, and I've got this package, and you're a little bit overwhelmed in the sense of what you can actually offer your clients, put it all down. And this is like a clarity exercise, and this is so powerful that I do this quite often.
I love that. I'm going to do it as soon as we're done.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever heard that before, so that's great. Thank you for that.
Oh, you're welcome.
So you have a free gift for my audience, don't you?
Yes.
To tell us about that.
I do. It's basically a free ebook, which is all about gratitude. So it's giving you 7 mind, body, soul, spirit exercises, all to do with gratitude, because gratitude has been the number one thing that has really helped me, you know, in my personal development journey. You know, having that appreciation, having that joy, really connecting with that art of gratitude, because then it gets you in that high vibe, that positivity. And if you can get in that high vibe and positive level on a daily basis, you are then going to start attracting, you know, everything that's in direct resonance with your energy, because I strongly believe that like attracts like. So this ebook, it's totally free. So it's just a case of just clicking on the link, providing your name and email address, and then that will come directly to your email, and it's completely free.
Awesome. And if somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how would they contact you?
Okay, so I'm on Facebook. So you just search on Facebook, Anything is Possible. That's my Facebook group. And you just click to join the group. It's a group for women from around the world, and it's aimed to inspire and to motivate you towards achieving your true greatness. And there's a lot of like healing in there. There's a lot of free coaching. So there's a lot of a mixture of things in there. But it's a growing community, it's a vibrant community, and it's really there to support and encourage each and every one. I'm also on LinkedIn, Sharan Sammi. So it's just under the search, click Sharan Sammi, and there's also website details as well below.
Going to be, yeah, they'll be in the show notes for everybody to click on. Well, awesome. Thank you so much, Sharan. I had such a good time, and I loved your story and your advice and your little tip there. I love that exercise, which I'm going to do when we're done. I'm not kidding. So thank you so much. And thank you guys for listening. And we will see you on the next episode. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thanks,
You're
Cheryl.
welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye.